Now, to install the piston rings on the pistons, you're going to need piston rings, pistons, and a feeler gauge, and someone who knows what they're doing. Unfortunately, we only have 3 of those 4 things, but I do have these instructions here. Instrucciones para instalar los anillos de pistón aros de emblo. Right, Welcome back to another episode of Limit 55. Last time you saw me using some new tools, and today I need to gap my piston rings. Now, in order to do that, you need a piston ring gapper, but I don't have that tool, so we're just gonna wing it. We're gonna make it happen. And if you're new to the Limit 55 channel, make sure to click subscribe to support the creation of more content like this. So before I actually get going with the rings, I'm just getting the grooves cleaned up because they were filthy. And I thought it was worth pointing out that these are Jans pistons. Okay, now Jans is a German word which means makes good shit. And while I was flipping through a stack of old road and track magazines, it seems that at one point they may have actually been good before they went out of business for being bad. And I have a friend called Jan, and he is reassuringly German, and he always does great work. So these are going to be great. I do have these brand new Grant piston rings from Moss Motors, so we're going to use these, which are better and good because they're new, hardened steel. Oh yeah. And while looking through an old Motor Trend magazine, I found a full-page color ad, and this company's still around today, so these must really be kicking. Got my rings, here they are. What the heck? I need 4! Where's the 4th? Oh. 3 rings. 4 rings per pack. Now it says to check for worn top grooves. If side clearance is greater than 5/1000ths of an inch for passenger cars or 6/1000ths of an inch for trucks, the groove should be re-grooved to accommodate a top groove spacer. Try 5/1000ths. Yeah, try 6/1000ths. 6. So that one was 6/1000ths of an inch, which says is acceptable if it's a truck. So maybe if I just get the TC registered as a classic truck, it'll be okay. Now, after much research, apparently, I'm told, or I'm learned, that the piston ring gap specification should be 3 to 4/1000ths for every inch diameter of the bore. It's my bore diameter at 2.638 inches to be precise. The main thing is you don't want it too tight, because when it's too tight and the ring expands with the heat, the tips collide and then they end up breaking the ring because there's nowhere for the ring to go. To check the gap, the process is pretty simple. You gotta find your bore, put the ring in, square it up with another piston, then take your feeler gauge, measure it, and then check. You can see how this gets tedious. Now you've got to file it down, put it back in. So I just checked it and it went up to 7/1000ths gap from a 2,000. Let's try 10. Let's try 9. Let's try 8. It's okay. This is always what happens the first time you do something. It takes freaking forever. Okay, it's quite therapeutic actually. Finally nailed it. I think what I'm realizing is that getting those two faces where the ring meet parallel is very difficult. That probably has something to do with the fact that I'm filing them by hand. The tool should help keep them parallel, but a pain in the neck this is. But hey, at least I didn't make it too big straight away. And so this tedious process went on, greasing up the cylinder walls, putting the rings in and out, checking their gaps, filing them down and reinstalling them again. 12:15 a.m. on a Tuesday night. I've gapped all the top rings though. It's okay, it's not as bad as I thought. And this is a huge deal. This is the first step in rebuilding the engine. I mean, I'm doing it. I'm living like Larry. You know, you gotta do it, otherwise it's never gonna get done. So, yeah, I think, you know, good milestone, something to be proud of. We've got new skill, learned, and executed, and kicking off the engine build. I mean, that's kind of a lot. Okay, it's a new day. Between yesterday and today though, I sent an email to the TC Motoring Guild asking them some questions. My side gaps measure 7 thousandths, 2 thousandths more than what the spec says. So a couple people responded and they said, you know what, even if it was 8 thou, it'll probably be okay. But they said the most important thing is that the groove is not tapered. You don't want it to look like that. They need to be parallel. So I came back and I spent a long time fiddling around, checking against the big backlight here to see if my groove is tapered or not. Here's the thing, will the engine run if I set them incorrectly? Yes. Will it wear a little bit faster compared to if I do set them correctly? Yes. Will I die before this inevitably detonates the engine into 1,000 pieces? I sure as hell hope so. The frustrating thing was though, that deep down I knew that I didn't want to put the piston rings on with the incorrect spec. That meant I either had to get pistons with a thinner groove or thicker rings. And since the engine bores had been perfectly matched to these pistons, I think I knew I was going to ultimately need new rings. I just couldn't quite admit it to myself yet, and here I was, still working away, trying to decide if it was ultimately going to make a difference, and trying to set the piston gap correctly. So I did all the top grooves yesterday, now I'm going to do the second groove. The crappy instructions don't even come with a spec for the second ring. App wall drop on some random forum thread said I do 0.004 thou for the top, 0.0035 thou for the second ring. So I guess I'll go with that. Honestly, the lack of like clear information on this is mind-blowing. Like, maybe it's like a tribal knowledge thing and I'm not in the tribe. I continued to set the second ring end gap while I waited for someone from the Motoring Guild to tell me not to worry about it. But then I resolved with myself. I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna call Grant Piston Rings tomorrow and I'm gonna ask them if they have any words of wisdom. Gotta take my own advice. In the last video I said, when you don't know something, just wait and ask.
All 3 rings are cast iron, so yes, we do recommend the same gap for all 3 rings. The end gap, the finish gap, should be between 8 and 15 thousandths.
Okay. Spec wasn't listed in the instructions.
Instructions sometimes it doesn't really make sense, or sometimes we contradict ourselves because it doesn't apply all the time, y'all.
Okay, so my next question is the side clearance. You know, the gap between the ring and the top of the groove. So I'm currently measuring a gap of 8. I'm not sure we're talking about the same thing. The back clearance, the ring, the gap between the top of the ring and like the top of the groove. They just don't know.
You have like 8 or 9,000. Like moving up and down, right? Into the piston groove.
In the groove, yeah. Up and down movement, yeah.
Up and down. When you put it flat into on the table, right? You put the piston flat on the table, and then you insert the ring into the groove, right? You shouldn't have.
Yeah, correct.
You shouldn't have more than 1/3 1,000 on both sides. 1,000 clearance, then either the ring thickness is wrong, or the piston groove, it's something wrong there. You put it into the piston groove up and down. You should move up and down.
Mine are flopping around in there like a hot dog down a hallway, you know, it's not a good look. So I got rings from you guys that are 0.0885, and I need them to be 0.0935. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. Bye.
This is what I'm talking about. They're giving out instructions that are wrong, okay? Everybody's got an opinion. We've been putting rings on pistons for damn near 130 years. And we still don't know what the hell we're doing? Come on, guys. I need thicker rings.